Hi guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing a teeny tiny August reading wrap-up. In case you missed it, I posted my Retold-a-thon reading wrap-up, which was my retelling themed readathon that we did kind of in the middle of August for 2 weeks. That is a much larger reading wrap-up. That was where the bulk of my reading went. So I'll link that down below in the description as well as up in the card if you want to go and check it out. But these are the books that I read the week before the readathon started and the week after it finished. So the remainder of August. We're going to go in order of least favorite to favorite. So in the like 2.5, 3-star category was Summer Days and Summer Night, edited by Stephanie Perkin. This is a summer anthology collection from a bunch of our favorite young adult authors, Leigh Bardugo, Libba Bray, Cassandra Clare. I was so excited for this one. I have been meaning to read it for like 4 or 5 years because I love the Christmas version that Stephanie Perkins put together called My True Love Gave to Me. It's my favorite anthology. I read stories from it every year. They're all holiday, winter, like romances. I believe all the same authors and I absolutely loved it. So I was ready for a summer of like sweet, cute romances, but this was a lot heavier than I expected it to be. A lot of the stories dealt with like family issues or kind of dark pasts and things like that. A couple of them I actually felt were more on the adult side than the young adult side. I felt like one of them was like a little bit inappropriate, to be honest. There really wasn't that much of the essence of summer in here. So I really loved this first story from Leigh Bardugo that had a little bit of like a silky mermaid vibe, but a lot of these just didn't really give me the summer feelings that I was wanting. They were kind of just shorter contemporary reads. So unfortunately, I think this is one I'm probably gonna unhaul. I haven't had the best luck with anthologies lately. Like I always like a couple, but then dislike the majority of them. We're gonna try some more this fall and see how they go. Moving on to like the 3.5 category is Meridian. I'm gonna put a picture up here because I have this physical book, but I cannot find the dust jacket. Like I like to take them off when I physically read them. So we're gonna put the picture up here. So this is part of a duology that I needed to finish for my unfinished series goal, and this is kind of like a post-apocalyptic sci-fi dystopian style read. I really liked it. It had kind of a unique premise. We had kind of like a compound protection situation. We had a nice twist in here. I did feel like the second book especially was a little on the long side, but I really enjoyed the duology as a whole. If you like that kind of genre, I would probably suggest checking it out. The covers are beautiful, which also helps, and this was like a 3.5 for me. Okay, and then I think the rest of my books were all 5 stars, which is amazing. 2 of them were rereads, so we're going to talk about those here. So I reread House of Salt and Sorrows. Again, I own this one, but I put it away when I was like doing my bookshelves and everything, so picture for now. This is the first in what is now a duology. I'm not sure if she's going to turn it into a series, but this is a retelling of The 12 Dancing Princesses, which is one of my favorite fairy tales of all time. It's about 12 princesses. They kind of sneak off to this magical ball and they never really leave their house, and every morning when they wake up, their shoes are torn to shreds because they've danced all night, and their dad, the king, doesn't know how it's happening, and he hires princes to come and like figure out the mystery. That's the original tale. In this one we have like a spooky atmospheric vibe. It's set on an island and the girls are kind of dying off one by one, so you get a little bit of like a good spooky magical effect to this. This would be a great one for Not So Scary-a-thon. This has got those spooky eerie vibes, but it's not like terrifying or anything. It's just really, really well done and I really loved it. I'm actually reading the second book, which just recently came out right now, and I'm really, really loving that one as well. So this, upon rereading, was a 5-star. Just finished The School for Good and Evil Book 2, A World Without Princes. This was again a reread because I'm jumping back into this series so I can finally finish it. I didn't feel the need to read the first book because I remembered it pretty well and the movie came out and kind of refreshed my memory. Polly Lee's the narrator for this and she is phenomenal. So this is a fantasy middle grade series where there is a school for good and a school for evil. We're following 2 girls. You think one girl's gonna be at the one school and one girl's gonna be at the other school, and things kind of get turned on their heads. And there's a lot of like fairy tale fantasy magic put in here, and it's just really, really fun. It gives me kind of Harry Potter vibes, but it's definitely its own thing, and a lot more with like fairy tales and magic. In this one, we're just continuing on with the series. I don't want to give anything away. This one ends on a pretty bad cliffhanger, so I'm really excited to get to the next book finally because I haven't read past this one. It's a long series. There are 6 books. I think that the first 3 might be a complete trilogy and then set a little bit in the future for the next set. And then we also have 2 prequels, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite middle grades ever, and I gave it 5 stars upon rereading. Then I physically read Spaceboy Volume 15. These are all 5 stars for me. This is a very long sci-fi graphic novel series that I've talked about constantly because I'm keeping up with it. Basically a girl that lives on a spaceship and winds up having to come to Earth. She gets cryogenically frozen, so she's like, I think 30 years in the future when she wakes up, so her best friend back on the spaceship is older now, and she kind of has to learn about life on Earth. We have all this cool technology. She has the ability to taste people, like not lick them or anything, but she can like taste their like aura when they walk in a room, and she can kind of determine what kind of person they are based off of that. And then she meets a boy that has no taste. It's just so much more detailed and fabulous than that. The art style is amazing. The story is so fun and so interesting. And book number 15 was no exception. 5 stars. And then lastly, and I just finished this yesterday, I read A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. This is the second, again, in a duology called The Carls. The first one being Absolutely Remarkable Thing. I don't even have words for how much I enjoyed this. This is a sci-fi duology. In the first book, we have our main character just kind of like going about doing her thing, and she discovers this like robot samurai looking statue in New York, and he's not moving or anything. And she makes like a YouTube video of it and becomes like a viral sensation. And then people across the world start finding these like samurai looking robots, and they're trying to figure out what they are and how they got here and what it means, and if it's like a publicity stunt or if it's something else. And she kind of becomes incredibly famous for finding this and gets swept up into like the story of it all. That's a very loose description because it's kind of best to not know too much going in. I have a thing for like us finding random objects on Earth and like not knowing where they're from. Like Sleeping Giants was like that, and Burning Midnight. Some of my favorite books ever. I gave this one 4 stars because I wasn't sure about the ending and I didn't know how it was going to wrap up. I'm going to bump it to 5 stars after reading this second book because I loved it so much. I did feel like this second one was a little on the long side. It took just a tiny bit to kind of get going and for you to understand where the story was going. The second book follows a whole cast of characters and kind of bounces back between points of view, and you're just being told the story like after it's taken place. There's a full cast of narrators. They are incredible. We get a little bit of changes with the sound in the audiobook. The narrators were absolutely phenomenal. And then this book just gets like wild and crazy and went places I didn't expect. It's very, very like smart and funny and heartwarming all at the same time. We get some really cool like commentary on like community and people and social media, and then also have like these sci-fi elements and like character studies, and it was just so good. The ending was amazing and I just wasn't expecting it. It's now one of my favorite books that I've read this year. So even though it was a little bit slower in the beginning and there were just a couple things that I felt like weren't necessary, 5 stars overall. New favorite duology. Okay, you guys, so that is everything that I read for August that was not part of Retold-a-thon. So be sure and check out that other video. So be sure and follow me at The Brightside Girl on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm posting lots of fun content over there as well. Stay tuned for a lot more fall festive themed videos, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.